Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel once again. In today's video I'm going to show you how we can draw geranium flowers having different perspective in it. So in today's video I'm going to show you only perspective of flowers, like how you can create all these flowers in different angle and in different perspective. So that's the only thing we're going to learn in part 1. In part 2 I'm going to show you how we can compose all these flowers together and create a beautiful composition. I'm going to use pencil for basic guideline and pen to outline the structure. You can use normal ball pen also if you don't have needle pen to draw. So let's start with the first perspective. So this perspective is the normal perspective, like facing towards you, so you can see all the flower petals and center part of the flower as well clearly. So you need to divide this circle into 4 equal quarters to get the center part of the flower. You can create fine structure around the center part of the flower and then you can start creating petals. So first petal you can create hole and facing towards downside, and second petal is halfway, like half part is hidden because of the first petal. So as you can see I have used the same line for both the petals. So likewise little bit of overlapping is something needed for this particular flower. So I'm keeping few petals little bit overlapped with each other, and you can create few petals individually, that is also fine. So you can create 3 to 5 petals like this, and as you can see I have gap between these petals, so you can keep it as is, that is natural, or you can keep everything intact. Now rub the unwanted pencil mark and we are going to trace it with the help of pen. I'm using 0.8 mm needle pen, but you can use normal ball pen also to do these things. In today's video I'm going to show you only how we can draw these perspective with little bit of detailing into it, but I'm not going to do some extra shading and detailing to beautify this particular flower, because the whole intention is to learn the basic perspective of geranium flower. Now you can add little bit fold around few petals and then you can add few lines around the petal area, although that is also not needed. Now let's learn the second perspective. This perspective is towards left side, little bit tilted towards left side, and for this one you have to create an oval kind of shape little bit tilted towards the right side. So the perspective is towards left, but the oval shape we have created is tilted towards right side. Now again divide this into 4 equal quarters, get the center part, but this time we are not creating the center part of the flower in the center, but little bit towards lower direction. So basically the perspective is towards left, but the center part of the flower is towards the right side. Now start creating petals. So create one petal and then create one more petal overlapped with each other, but we are also going to add fold into the second petal. So let's create one more petal and then rub the middle line in between these two petals to create some folds around it. So I'm rubbing it and then creating an S kind of shape so that you can see the fold between these two petals clearly. So basically these two petals are overlapped but having folds also in it. Likewise you can create one more petal in different direction having again an S kind of shape. This time I'm not overlapping this particular one with the middle one, so I'm keeping this S shape little bit at distance. So these three are the bigger petals because we have bigger space from center part, and then you can create few more petals at the base, little smaller as per size available for you from the center part of the flower, and then you can add folds also. Now let's trace this one as well again quickly. So while tracing you can do some modification into your basic structure if you're not sure with your shape, and you can repeat the same thing for the right perspective as well. So this one is more tilted towards left side. Now because I need to highlight the folded pattern, so I am doing some extra shading and detailing around that area. Let's create the third perspective. So this one I'm going to keep this flower more tilted towards the right side. So again I'm creating an oval shape tilted towards the left side. So because this flower is tilted towards the right side, so basically the center part is more towards the left side, not in the center. And this time again I'm repeating the same thing, creating 3 bigger petals and 2 smaller as per distance from the center part. But you don't have to repeat the same thing what we did in the second one, although you can repeat the same thing as well, it's totally fine. But showing you a different perspective is something important for me as of now, so I'm keeping different kind of petals, little bit overlapped with each other, and keeping some structure around the center part. Again you can add folds as per your perspective, so I'm adding few folds around the base petal, and then you can trace everything like we are doing for the first 2 flowers. I'm not doing any extra shading and detailing because we are focusing on learning how we can draw all these things. In the part 2 I'm going to show you how we can compose all these flowers beautifully, but before composing I think drawing these flowers is important, especially in a different perspective. So we are done with the 3 perspective. Now let's learn the 4th one. So 4th one is more like facing towards downside. So again I'm creating an oval shape. You can keep this oval shape in any direction. And then again divide this into 4 equal quarters, and this time I'm keeping the center part towards upward direction, keeping one petal very fine and smaller. And this petal definitely need one folded structure to make it look like this is folded towards downside, and then create few bigger petals around your oval shape. So I'm creating 4 bigger petals this time and one smaller towards upward direction. Now as you can see, we can see perspective very clearly, but I need little different structure around the petal, so let me correct it. That's the benefit of doing all these things with the help of pencil first, so that you can correct these things easily. Once you are satisfied with your drawing, as you can clearly see this is facing towards downside, you can trace everything quickly and you can do some lines around the petal area and do some cross hatching process around the folded pattern that we have. The more details you add into your petal area and flower, the more attractive flower you can draw, but that is not the intention here, so I'm keeping my flower simple. Now we have learned 4 different perspectives: front, left, right and downward direction. Now let's learn one more perspective facing towards the sky. So this one is facing towards the upward direction or towards the sky. Again divide this into 4 equal quarters to get the center part. This time I'm keeping the center part of the flower towards upward direction from the center. Create one big petal having fold into it, and then create left and right petals as per area available from the center part. So basically I have created 2 bigger petal left and right and one center petal and 2 smaller petal towards upward direction. Because of the space, we have less space on the upward direction. Now if you add one smaller stem, you can see this one is facing towards the sky. We can see center part, but we cannot see the whole flower. We are seeing few petals very smaller in size. Now I have traced everything with the help of pen so that you can see things clearly. If you want, you can add extra shading and detailing around the folded pattern, which is important, but I'm keeping it as is for now. Now let's learn one more perspective. This one is facing towards the right side. This one is not tilted but exactly on the right side. So that's why I'm keeping the center part towards the left side. And as per your center part, now you have understand what logic we are using to create all these petals. So as we have less space, so you can create your petals accordingly. So 3 bigger petals, 2 smaller petals, and 2 smaller petals should have some folds into it. These are geranium flower, but you can use same logic for cherry blossom or any other flower as well. Now let's repeat the same thing, trace everything with the help of pen and add some extra detailing around the folded pattern, because then only you can see that perspective better, and you can add extra lines around the petal as well. Now we are done with the right perspective. You can repeat the same thing for left perspective as well, and then you can draw a small stem as well to see the perspective more clearly. So once you add these stems, you can see things better. So that's why I have added it. Now let's learn the filler flowers in between the group of geranium flower. So these are small flowers, half bloomed flower you can say, or the perspective is totally different, wherein we are able to see only few petals, but we are also able to see the sepals as well. So the sepals are the green structure which we usually see at the base of the flower. Now you can have different varieties of these kind of perspective as well, like having some fold patterns into it, and we can use these kind of perspective to fill some of the area wherein we have smaller space available. So keep these flowers also in mind. Now let's learn the last perspective. This one is the back perspective, wherein we are able to see the sepals clearly. We are not able to see the center part. So in this one, we don't have to create the stamens and all. We can create sepal at the center, or you can use any perspective what we have learned today, and then you can create petals. So I'm keeping this perspective simple, but you can repeat the same thing using any other perspective that you have apart from the upper facing perspective. Now trace everything with the help of pen. You can do some extra shading and detailing if needed, and likewise you can draw many other perspective using same kind of logic what we have learned in today's video. So we have learned so many perspective in today's video, facing towards left, right, downward, upward, so many, and these perspective are super important for part 2 video, wherein we are going to compose all these flowers together, and we are also going to learn how we can draw leaves. So hope you have liked it, and please do let me know if you have any kind of feedback for me, and thank you so much for watching my videos. See you guys in the next video.